Have you ever watched one of those phenomenally popular 3D children's animations and wondered why you just can't look away, even as an adult? Or why toddlers are literally glued to the screen when they come on? Well, in today's Explainer, we're going to deconstruct the rigid, incredibly specific rules behind this massively popular 3D entertainment. We're looking directly at a source blueprint, the actual master instructions used to create high-quality 3D animated nursery rhymes for toddlers and preschool children.
And that brings us to the big question we're tackling today. What is the actual secret formula behind the perfect toddler animation? Because, as you'll see, it's really not just about throwing some bright colors on a screen. Our source material reveals a highly calculated master recipe. It's designed specifically to hold a preschooler's attention, keep them entirely comfortable, and strictly avoid anything that might scare or overstimulate them. It's honestly a fascinating look at the science of digital comfort. So, to get to the bottom of this, we're going to break our analysis down into 4 key parts. 1. The perfect visual vibe. 2. Characters and the environment. 3. Technical execution and motion. And finally, 4. The absolute deal breakers.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, the perfect visual vibe, or setting the mood for toddlers.
Now, notice the specific juxtaposition of ideas requested in the design brief here. We're looking for cinematic children's animation. The source specifically demands a polished 3D cartoon rendering, so we're talking about high-end, complex, computer-generated graphics. But that high-tech rendering must be instantly softened by, quote, soft pastel colors, large friendly eyes, and a clean, family-friendly design. Essentially, the complex technology has to become totally invisible behind this wall of pure innocence.
When we break down the core visual elements mandated by the blueprint, a very distinct pattern emerges. Just look at these requirements. Soft, rounded shapes, soft pastel colors, large, friendly eyes, playful movements, adorable, colorful designs. The repetition of the word soft is definitely no accident. You see, in animation, sharp angles and high-contrast colors actually signal danger or excitement. So by enforcing rounded shapes and pastels, the blueprint ensures the visual experience is inherently cheerful and, most importantly, not visually overstimulating for a developing brain.
So the crucial point is captured perfectly in this quote from the source document, detailing the exact mood the animation has to achieve. It must be happy, playful, innocent, comforting, educational, and engaging for young children. And guys, this isn't just a suggestion, it is the ultimate North Star for the entire project. Every single pixel, every shadow, every character design literally must serve this overarching feeling of absolute comfort.
Moving right along to section 2, characters and the environment, or how to create a totally safe world.
Comparing the character constraints directly with the environmental rules reveals how perfectly they mirror each other. It's like a giant puzzle fitting together. For characters, we have cute baby animals with gentle facial expressions. And where do they live? In an environment of bright, colorful countryside with a cheerful, child-friendly atmosphere. The world itself has to feel just as soft as the characters in it. We're talking warm daylight, fluffy clouds, soft green grass. The environment perfectly complements the cute baby animals, leaving absolutely zero room for shadows, storms, or danger.
And this brings us to what is probably one of the most inflexible rules of toddler entertainment: absolute consistency. The blueprint commands the creators to keep the same colors, proportions, clothing, facial features, and accessories in every scene. Now, why is this so strict? Well, because visual continuity is the foundation of comfort. If a character's shirt changes color or their proportions shift even slightly, the spell of the animation is broken. For toddlers, consistency equals safety.
Okay, on to section 3, technical execution and motion. How do we actually bring this scene to life?
The source material layers the execution really deliberately. First up, lighting. It must be warm, soft daylight with subtle ambient lighting and soft shadows. This is paired with smooth camera movements, starting with wide establishing shots, moving to medium, and then adorable close-ups using slow push-ins. Finally, the animation itself must feature smooth, slow movements suitable for toddlers, like bouncing, waving, and dancing. Basically, every single technical layer is engineered to be gentle. Which builds into an absolute mandate regarding the camera. No sudden movements, gentle tracking shots only. This is vital. Think about it. In adult action movies, sudden movements and rapid cuts create excitement, right? But for a toddler, rapid visual changes are just overwhelming.
A toddler's cognitive processing requires a slow, deliberate pace so they actually have time to understand exactly what they are looking at before the angle changes.
Oh, and the blueprint also specifically notes the aspect ratio has to be 16:9 widescreen. Despite being simple in its messaging and gentle in its pacing, the packaging must scream high quality. It demands the look of a professional children's TV animation, ensuring it feels premium and trustworthy to the parents who are, the ones actually pressing play.
When it comes to the characters themselves, the motion guidelines are incredibly specific. We've talked about the smooth, slow movements, but look at the actions: happily bouncing, waving and dancing, and interacting with each other. It demands the characters feel alive but completely non-threatening. I absolutely love this last point from the source: exaggerated but gentle facial expressions. The expressions need to be big enough for a toddler to easily read the emotion, like happiness or surprise, but gentle enough that it never becomes overwhelming or aggressive.
Which brings us to our final section, Part 4, the absolute deal breakers, the toxic ingredients you have to avoid at all costs.
The contrast here is super stark. Let's compare the desired traits directly with the deal breakers outlined in the blueprint. We want exaggerated, gentle expressions, but absolutely no distorted faces. We need consistent designs, avoiding inconsistent characters, extra limbs, or duplicates. We require clean rendering with absolutely no text, logos, or watermarks. These strict rules are actively guarding against the common pitfalls of sloppy 3D modeling or poorly generated AI art. I mean, an extra limb or distorted face would instantly shatter that careful illusion of safety we've spent so much time building.
The blueprint goes on to list other fundamentally toxic elements for this demographic. No scary elements, no dark atmosphere, and no aggressive movements. But you know what the most telling restriction on this list is? It's the total ban on realistic animal behavior. Think about that for a second. Even though the characters are baby animals, they are not allowed to act like real animals. Real nature is just too unpredictable, too messy, and potentially too aggressive. For toddlers, the blueprint demands a highly curated, sanitized innocence over reality every single time.
So wrap it up this explainer. When we look at this ultimate blueprint, the insistence on perfectly soft shapes, unwavering consistency, slow motion, and the total banishment of even realistic animal behavior, we really have to ask ourselves, how do these strict, highly curated parameters shape the media diet and expectations of the next generation? When a toddler's foundational entertainment is this perfectly smoothed out and sanitized, how does it shape the way they eventually interact with a world that isn't? It's a pretty wild thing to think about the next time you see a cheerful, bouncing 3D cartoon on a screen.